Do you have any interest in seeing 28 years later?
Truthfully, no. It's just more like curiosity at this stage.
Well, I already saw it. I actually saw it Thursday.
Okay.
I know this is the review of 28 Days Later, but 28 Years Later is the same director, Danny Boyle. So I went to see it. Now, for those, by the time this review comes out, people have probably seen it or not. But to tell you, it has somewhat of a cameo of Cillian Murphy
I heard he
character.
produced.
Well, yes, but this is more about just another story in that universe.
I mean, they did that for 20 weeks, 28 weeks later, where it
Right.
was just another character. They didn't follow the same main character.
Right. And that's what they did. It's enjoyable. I had a good time overall watching it,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like it's not a need to rush to see.
Yeah.
Also, Remick from Sinners makes a cameo.
The actor.
Yeah. Oh, well, not the
I mean, if
vampire.
it's Remick, he lived after all. It's all connected.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But let's get into our original intent of this review of 28 Days Later with a current score, or still current score on Rotten Tomatoes, 87% by the critics and 85% by the audience. Was this the first time you watched it?
Oh no, but I haven't seen it in almost 28 years.
Well, damn, well, let's go. Welcome back to A Tales of Two Bros. My name is Angel,
Madon.
where we give you a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert. What was the original budget for this? I believe it was 8 million. I could be wrong.
Well, bro, you take point there. It says estimated budget 8 million.
And how much did it gross though?
Worldwide gross was 74.9.
Oh, that's a hit then.
Absolutely.
That's definitely a hit. But I have to say, though, in the sense of the franchise, because now it's considered a franchise. Did they do a 28 days like series?
Not to my knowledge. I do, like I said, there was the 28 weeks later,
Yeah.
but I don't remember there being like a spin-off series. I do
Yeah.
know 28 Days Later is based on a book. If you want to count it part of that, then yeah, I guess it is a franchise.
So what makes it a franchise? Like a three movies? You have to have at least three movies to make it a franchise.
I guess. Like there has to be some kind of connectivity. Like Predator 1 and 2, you could argue
Yeah.
in a franchise because Predator 2 showed the xenomorph skull
Right, but they also had comic books prior.
and after. Yeah. Hmm.
So well, I mean, so prior to Predator 2,
Yeah. So
really
I guess
hot.
it's a title that can cross the boundary of
Yeah.
the just being a movie or a singular
Right.
show. Yeah.
Now you've seen it since 28 years later. Pretty much same thing as me. I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theaters.
Yeah. I saw it
And
in
it,
theaters and then maybe once or twice outside of that, but it was,
okay.
we're talking about back in Blockbuster days. Yeah.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And like for me, that was my introduction to Cillian Murphy and
Hmm.
also to I guess, the love interest, the black girl, because
I
she's
don't,
been in a lot of movies in the sense of American and European or British movies. She was Miss Moneypenny for the Daniel Craig James Bond series.
and then she was also in the Venom last
Right, right. She was
Carnage. That
Typhoon Mary or something like that. Yeah,
No, she was Shriek.
that's right.
Brandon Gleeson, arguably
Oh,
my favorite actor in the entire film, and
but dude, like
and I
his
like Gillian Morphy. Silly is it
Gillian,
Killian
Gillian,
Murphy,
or Killian. Yes, but then you also have Doctor Who. You have a Doctor Who in this,
Alex
and
Palmer.
and I was like, what? I totally forgot, because I haven't seen it so long, so you forget. Now, granted, I'm not a fan or too much of a fan of British cinema in that sense,
Hmm.
but yes, seeing him again, and I remember he was in it, not the Doctor Who guy, the other guy, uh, uh, but I like him. I thought he's such a great actor, and how he turns is just like so sad
Yeah,
and powerful at the same time because what he does with that. Now, this is not a zombie movie, correct? Or can you consider it a zombie movie because it's is
it's
a
been
man
argued.
made
It's been argued, but you can consider it in the sense that it's people that lose their control of their faculties
right,
and they become bestial and they attack other people. So it can be argued as a
right.
zombie film, but it's more of as like virus outbreak film.
I'll talk about Beast. I'll say this: in 28 years later, those who turn the infected,
Hmm.
they become beast-like.
Yes.
Meaning, because I don't remember in 28 weeks later, but they take off their clothes in 28 years later. It's like they're very viral, very animalistic, very
Yes.
of nature. So I don't remember that because in 28 days later, they're still clothed and they're chasing people, full with pants, jeans, whatever, suits or what have you. So they're not like ripping off their clothes, being so primal as they did in the last sequel,
The latest installment. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, of course, it's dated. It came out in 2002, and Danny Boyle, he's done some directing before, but this was like his, I guess, one of his major
Breakouts.
directorial jobs. Yes, but it felt to me like at some parts it felt like a documentary. Other parts it felt like part of a music video. The way the angles were, the filming angles and all this stuff, as well as a regular movie, of course. It's not that scary. None of it's really scary in a sense of not by the monsters. What's really scary is by the humans, especially at the end.
Yes, but that's what makes a good zombie film is the people.
Oh yeah, no, of course you have the people who talk about the character, about the situation going on and stuff like that. And watching it again, I have to feel like Robert Kirkman and The Walking Dead took the inspiration of the opening scene here.
100%. 100%. That whole opening scene.
Wake you up in the hospital and you're like, nothing's going, like you're by yourself. You have no idea what's going on. Well, in Walking Dead, it's a different. They meet the zombies, or the sheriff, he meets the zombies sooner. And there's like stuff written on the walls, like don't open this door, blah, 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 what have you. But yes, you see Cillian Murphy's character. What was his name in the show again?
Jim.
Just
Jim. They went with very simple names for their characters.
No, the reason why I'm saying is because that's one of the characters of 28 years later. Yeah, I know it's a common name, but once you see the movie, then you're like, oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give spoilers for here. We're going to spoilers.
Now, I will say this. The Walking Dead series, the comic, was released in 2003.
And the movie came out in 2002.
Yeah, exactly.
So that could be some kind of inspiration there. And what I liked about here also, you don't know Jim's character, and we kind of find out at the end because it kind of took like a big jump from his character, because he was like ninja at the end, where before he's like, what's going on? He was a scavenger, like he was just taking money and whatever, and then finding people.
I mean, he said his previous job was a bike courier, so he was like he was a very athletic guy and whatnot. They didn't say it was like he was ex-paramilitary or anything like that.
No, but the way he handled those military guys at the end, with no weapons except for a pipe at one time, and he sneaks in the house and lands very quietly. It's like,
correct.
There's more to it. Like, I think what's happening in that we're being told his backstory or part of it in that scenario.
Maybe he did essentially become more primal at that point. Like, there was a point where Selena almost thought that he was infected with the rage virus.
No, of course, because of how he acted, like,
and how violent he was. Yeah,
exactly. So what I'm saying, though, that's why I think from that scene we're learning more about him. Yeah, he may be been a bike messenger, and then he got hit, and then that's what they took him to the hospital.
What you're saying is like he may have had more of a violent past than.
Correct. Or maybe he was military at one time, but again, like sometimes when you come out of the military, you want something simple. Don't want to bother nobody. Let me just deliver stuff and be home, what have you. So that could be it, because I'm telling you, it took a nice like 180 turn from what was happening prior.
Yeah.
I do find it funny though in the opening scene. Also, I find it bad that you see these people, and I felt sorry for that monkey that was tortured watching those TVs.
Yes.
With the stuff in the head, I was like, oh my God, I felt so bad. But, and again, we're jumping around here because.
But let's be honest.
That's what we do.
Let's be honest. If you're trying to set free animals and the scientist says they're all infected, please, you're going to kill us all. They're all infected. Nah, man, I'm not going to believe you. I'm going to set these animals free because that's where they belong and they're too cute.
No, exactly. But this is why I find it funny. They go there, those three, they're like representatives of PETA, what have you. And they go to free the monkeys. Then they start beating up the monkeys because of how they're reacting. Because here's the thing: it's like, regardless if they're injected with some kind of venom or what have you, because the scientists were doing something. They're trying to create something for military aspect. That's how I saw it. They're trying to create. They test on an apple.
In order to cure it, you have to first understand it.
Right. But I'm thinking that they're trying to, like, you create something, but just in case it gets out of hand, we have to have a a backup, like an antidote, just in case.
I thought of it differently. I didn't think of it as a military weapon. I was thinking of it as more as a government control thing, kind of like equilibrium. In order to cure rage, you need to control it. So like in equilibrium, they attained a peaceful society by eliminating emotions.
Okay.
In order to understand emotion, we have to first like induce it to control that emotion.
All right. Well,
That's how I took it.
Tomato,
I mean,
tomato.
tomato.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, no, I'm saying I just think like, because how good was that? Would that be? Say that you create this thing.
say
this
equilibrium
virus.
is the end product of 28 days later.
No.
Christian
I'm just
Bale
saying,
walks out.
you create this thing to say you want to a hostile territory that's a threat to your country.
Yeah.
Right. You put that virus into that territory where they can destroy each other themselves.
Yeah.
Within. And then when everything is done so that no one else gets contaminated, you spray over the antidote that kills the virus completely, if you don't burn it. Say like that in that instant.
Yeah.
Talk about that. That's how I took it from there. That was a science facility for, you said government, which is not totally wrong, but also military,
Yeah.
in the sense of bigger things. But I just find it funny though, in a sense, like I said, they go to rescue the monkeys, the apes, and then they're beating it because it attacked. And regardless, a primal animal is going to be a primal animal. So if
True.
you open it and it's going to react, it's going to attack, like a lion will attack or what have you, just because that's part of its nature. So them being that like, oh, nothing's going to happen, because freaking those apes at that size are freaking strong.
Absolutely.
They have those teeth. They could have easily mauled them without the virus.
The fact that the girl was still alive after being attacked by that chimpanzee, that's the most impossible thing I saw. Because the fact that it attacked her the way it attacked her, she would have had a ripped out throat.
She didn't have a ripped out throat?
No, she was just like spitting out blood. And
I think it bit her and stuff like that.
It looked like it bit her here, but like as much as she was wrestling with it, it should have been more brutal.
I mean, because she turned kind of quick, so it just
everybody did. Everybody has like 10 to 20 seconds. I still stand by the idea. I like the idea. It's totally two different production companies. But the more I think about it, Equilibrium could have fit it as a sequel to 28 Days Later.
Maybe.
In Equilibrium, they said our world was on the brink of destruction. It was da-da-da-da-da-da. And then we came up with a thing that solved it by getting rid of emotions.
Okay, but what year did that take place? Say that 28 Days Later took place in 2002.
2002?
2002.
No.
Equilibrium took place in 2002 as well?
No. I'm sorry. It was released in 2002.
No, I'm talking about, I meant what time, when does the movie scenario take place? What's the time period of that movie? Because it's clearly in the future, but when in the future?
Oh, I don't know if it even says that.
Oh, geez, do I have to look it up? Well, it's kind of funny that it takes place the same year. That is kind of funny though. 27-2.
So yeah, that could work.
100 years after the year I was born. So yes, it could work. It could have worked, right? All those years to do the research, to find that antidote or cure, to take away the person's emotion. Yes, you're right. These two movies could be somewhat apart or connected. Yes, you're right. Did you enjoy it watching this again?
I would say yeah. It's still a good film. The way it's shot, the graininess of the film, it is, like you said, dated. You could tell like the budget went into certain effects, and I don't know if it was a conscious decision to film it with the quality of film that they did. Because like we said, Equilibrium was shot the same year, and like the film quality is so much different. Granted, their budget was so much larger.
Right, exactly.
No, like I said, like, they blew up the gas station in the city. You could see that like from different angles. Like a good portion of the budget had to have gone to that.
No, of course. For $8 million back then, which is a lot of money.
It is.
Then. Well, they had to do some things because like the opening scene when he's walking in the street, that had to take time. And that's like in Dawn, where like the town, the city, is still asleep. The cars are not there. So I just looked that up. I think I sent it to you. Yeah, that opening shot with him walking around is like when the sun is rising, taking advantage, which is a great time to shoot. It's either at sunrise or sunset, a perfect time to shoot something. So yeah, I think it's called like the magic hour or something like that. But I do feel bad though, or I think it's fucked up that military sent those, I guess, SOS calls.
Just to lure people in as bait.
No, women.
Well, yeah.
Before they can rape them and get them pregnant, I guess, to procreate, whatever, but mainly to help the soldiers out that, or
because they were feeling
reward the soldiers
depressed.
or down or they're horny. And I guess they weren't going to do anything to each other. So they were like straight through and through. That it was like, no, we're not bi or gay. So, but that was so fucked up. But do you have a favorite moment?
There's some notable moments. Like it's pretty messed up. Like how what's his name? Is it Mark or Mac? He gets the split in his arm when they go visit Jim's parents, and the zombie breaks. I'm gonna call them zombies. The zombie breaks through the kitchen window.
Oh yes.
And Selena just like she's like, "You good?" He's like, "Oh yeah." Without hesitation.
You're talking about the guy who got his arm chewed.
So that's the funny thing. He didn't get his arm chewed.
Yes, he did.
No, the skin was ripped and it was open, but he had blood from the other zombie on his arm. And he was trying to wipe the blood off. It was a cut. It was a clean cut.
It looked like a bite.
No, it was just like flayed open skin. And then but he had blood on him from the other zombie. And he's like, I didn't get any in. And she's like, okay. And she just hacked him.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty confident.
I'm thinking that he got bit and he didn't want to die. He didn't want to accept the fact that he got bit.
No,
he was
sure. Yeah, I'm very sure because I see him white. He was more focused on getting the blood off his arm than tending to the wound. Case in point, with Frank, when he gets infected, all it takes is one drop of blood to get in their system.
Right. No, exactly.
Incredibly sad scene. Incredibly sad. Actually, most of my favorite scenes are with Frank. Like when they first break into the hotel, not the hotel, the apartment building, and you see Frank dressed up in the riot gear. Yo, he handles business.
I know, but then he comes out like, "Hey, how are you? Nice to see you."
Exactly.
It's like a total different person.
As soon as the helmet comes off, he's like, "Hi guys, how you doing? It's so great to."
Well,
what do we have to serve them? Tea, cakes.
Right, but what do we see that at? Where do we see that a lot of times?
In life.
Superheroes.
Yeah.
They wear the costume, whatever. They're like this person to this persona. As soon as the costume comes off, they're acting as another persona. Bruce Wayne and Batman. Or say that Bruce Wayne, that's his costume. Their true self is Batman. Clark Kent, his true self is Superman.
He lifts the car in the garage. Not the garage, the tunnel.
No, the tunnel, but he doesn't know it. That all three do.
Yes, but still, it's like, he was the one lifting most of that weight.
That's true. That's true.
No one's in there going like, Jim, can you like lift up this taxi? Nod. Frank's like, I got you. Fun fact. The little girl, the daughter, she's now a stunt actress.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, she was like one of the Amazons in Wonder Woman.
Oh, nice.
The end scene is also really good when Jim starts going
ballistic.
The fact that it's not one scene, but the fact that he was able to go through that sequence. First of all, he's got stupid good aim to hit the chain. Was it like 3 to 4 shots? He got the chain and broke the chain.
Also, right, but also like silent, like he's running on that platform when he hits the guy with the pipe.
Yeah,
and crazy strong because he put that guy back in the car.
Not easy.
Are you okay?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm making it through.
Okay.
But not dead weight.
You find that, yeah, exactly. Or not even dead weight. It's just, if you're knocked out and your body has, your body's just moving all over the place. So to move body.
That's what dead weight is. It's just limp body.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, but he's not dead. Well, he did die.
Yeah.
Never mind. So never mind. Because he cracked his skull open.
It looked like it was here, but.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, still that power, that force, and then the fall from that hit, because he was on the ladder or steps, whatever.
Yeah.
So the fall could have done more damage too. But for me, one of my favorite scenes is when Jim walks into the church.
Oh, that's a good moment.
Yeah, and he says,
it's
hello?
Wild. Like the guys, they're all piled atop each other, like Last of Us style.
Yes.
And then only like a handful come up, and there's that one that's just staring at him.
Yes. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. I remember seeing that in the theater. I was like, no, I don't like this. I don't like this.
I thought that was worse than when you saw The Preacher.
Oh, The Preacher is nothing compared to that. It was very, to me, Halloween. When Jason looks at you and doesn't do anything, for me, that's bone chilling.
Yeah.
You're just staring at you and not moving, but is locked in on you.
Mm-hmm.
And and this one, it was not just one, it was two. Two infected got up and stared at him.
Yeah.
But those two that when he made the, when he said hello or anyone here, and those two got up. But when the priest came and walking the way he walked, which was weird because they charge, they have energy, they run. But this priest is like walking and doing like this and swinging the arms, and And then he hits him. Forgive me, father. Forgive me, father. Sorry. Oh, I'm surprised the bag didn't bust too. Or was it like a pillow bag? Maybe it was a pillow bag.
It was a bag full of Pepsi.
Oh yeah, great product placement.
Several times. Several
I know.
times.
You want Pepsi, you want this or something like that. Do
It
you
was
have
like Pepsi, Mountain Dew, and then they had some weird, some, I don't want to say weird. It could be really popular brand for all
right?
I know.
But was it Mountain Dew? It was kind of like Mountain Dew. I know you're talking about because it
Yeah.
had the same coloring. It was like a Sprite, Mountain Dew, 7-Up kind of thing. But definitely Pepsi was one
It
of
was like
them.
Sierra Mist before it was Sierra
Yeah.
Mist.
Right.
Pepsi definitely was the forefront for production. Like it was like 2 or 3 things that going on. You're low on sugar. Here's a Pepsi.
No, but okay, you just said he shot earlier. You said he shot 3 times to break the chain of the zombie.
3 to 5. Yeah.
Right. That's another show sign of his backstory without telling us. Another hint.
And like technically, and correct me if I'm wrong, England's like one of those no firearms states, like countries.
Right.
Other than like the military or
the
like
police don't even have, I think. I
yeah.
don't think the police don't even have it.
So unless homie traveled to America for a short while,
Well, I'm saying he may have served military, so he
Mhm.
may have have a military background, as I mentioned earlier. What about weak moment? Was there a weak moment for you besides the quality of the film?
surprisingly, it kept my attention longer than I thought it would. Jesus. Hold on, this is Dad. Let me find out what's going on. Hey, Dad, everything okay?
When you get a chance, before 10 o'clock, put on the CNN or any of those news like Fox channels. Korea's bombed Tehran.
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
We bombed Iran.
630
We're in war.
30 tons of bombs. You know, but they have the nuclear sites.
Gotcha. All right, so that sucks. All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Talk to you, buddy.
Bye. Man,
Oh,
these
that's
are
fucked
some.
up.
It's really some hell times.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep that in. Well, for those who voted for the man who said no wars, this is what you fucking got. You got wars. Fuck you for voting for him. And I'll say it again. Fuck you for voting for him. So anyway,
Crazy.
because they voted for him because of the egg prices. They didn't want to get money to have housing. They wanted their gas prices lowered and they want their egg prices lowered. So again, fuck you for voting for him.
We did get our gas prices lowered. That's true.
Not really. It goes up and down.
This is true. Well, let's also be honest. We're getting so political now. People weren't ready for a female president. I know plenty of people that voted for him just because she was running. And they're like, I don't want her.
I get it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she did her job. Granted, if you didn't like what she did her job amazingly. Prosecutor in LA and all that stuff. She did her job. If she was terrible at her job, she wouldn't have been good. She would have not been promoted to where she got to, right? But the thing is, we have examples throughout the world of women leaders and women leaders holding their own, doing far better than their male predecessors.
I look at it this way. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. As long as you're good at the job, you're good at the job.
Anyway, let's go back to this. Let's go back to this.
I digress. Worst moment of the movie.
Yeah.
I like the ending, but I don't like the ending.
Yes, I can see what you're saying. Because do you think they saw us? You hear the pilot go, nothing here.
Well, not even that. They saved him from a gut shot.
Right.
To my knowledge, a gut shot is almost, guaranteed to kill you. It's just whether it's like quick or slow.
Well, it depends on if you get the bullet out and you're able to close the hole and what have you.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he was shot with a low caliber. He was shot with a rifle.
No, I get it.
Point blank range.
I get it.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. We don't know the girl's backgrounds. We don't know the little girl, like what the father taught her in a sense of any kind of medical emergency.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. They got him to a hospital, which also is another thing saying like they know where their hospital is. They didn't have GPS. I don't see Selena in the back seat with a map.
Right. I mean, it says 28 days later after that incident.
Yeah.
So, which was kind of cool because they did that also in 28 weeks later and 28 years later. After like a major incident goes and is almost done, this is 28 days later from that incident.
Also, just to piggyback on that one, I like the idea that they show like the infected were like desiccated. They were almost done by the end of 28 days later. And I understand how 28 weeks later could carry on because as a sequel, because there really is a carrier.
But what are you talking about 28 days later that they're done.
Yeah, you see at the end of the movie, you see that not all the infected, but you see some of the infected are just hanging out on the roads or the bridges, and they can't move because when they're infected, it's not like they're hunting for food; they're just looking to attack. They're becoming malnourished.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they were saying, like Doctor Who's character, he was saying that the infected that they had, that one guy, they were like, I learned from him what makes him move, what makes him attack, how long will he live without feeding, from starvation. In that sense, granted, we didn't find out, but in 28 years later, they seclude a place. So that's all like barricaded off.
Yeah. I assumed that it was like the infected evolved to learn how to survive. And 28 weeks later, the infected were dying out, but a person who survived actually became a carrier. She became like a patient zero. And then they brought her to study, and her ex-husband, who, mind you, abandoned her. This is like the entire movie summed up. Apologized, kissed her,
And he becomes infected.
And he becomes infected.
Right. Yeah.
And then
yeah.
and it affects everything else. And then Reed
Right.
starts like ticks
Restart.
Yeah.
Right. And then you see 28 years later, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's something else. Another it evolves again. It's another evolution, kind of like X-Men and mutants.
I thought you were going to go with the Resident Evil.
Oh, I don't know all that lore. I stopped playing the game after the first zombie turned around on the screen. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not playing this game no more.
I did play it longer than you. And then
Yes,
I
you
also
did.
played with our godfather.
Right. And then the movies too, whatever. But
A fun fact, sorry. One of our cousins has an Umbrella Academy tattoo on his wrist. And I remember talking to him about it. And he's like, yeah, surprisingly, I get free shit for this. And like I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I'll be checking out at like a random store. And then the guy at register is like, is that the Umbrella Corporation tattooed on your wrist? He goes, yeah, understood. Don't worry about paying for that. He told me that. I'm like, you're lying. He's like, I'm serious as a hard act, bro. Like, I get free stuff all the time.
was there a secret organization that we don't know about?
I'm like, he's like, you might want to do it too, because I don't know if we're going to survive many days.
Well, I guess so now that we're at war. Anyway, so yeah, 28 years later shows the evolution of the infected.
Yeah.
And some other creatures too. I don't remember in the sequel. Did we say a weak moment?
I kind of did. You didn't.
I think there's a stupid moment when they drive that car in the tunnel and they drive over the other cars and then they stop. They stop to fix the tire. I was like, fuck that. Let me keep driving out of here. I'll go slower. And then when I don't feel so creepy, I'll change the tires. And they took so long until the rats showed up. They're like taking like their sweet time. I was like, you should be like hurrying. If you were hurrying getting through the tunnel, you should hurry to get.
Here's the thing: the rats is actually a clever tell because that's like the rats are running away from danger,
right? Exactly,
and that's when the infected start showing up,
right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't see that; they didn't know. Like I guess they found out at the same time we did watching it.
True, very true.
I mean, you would think not Jim, but the others should have known that if they were surviving the whole time, they should have some kind of like
maybe Selena over Frank because Frank kept into the apartments.
Oh, that's true too.
Selena was the only one on the streets.
Right. I still think he got bit. I still think her friend got bit, but you say no, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
I think it was the blood.
Now, on Rotten Tomatoes, still to this day, it is ranked 87% by the critics and 85% by the audience. Where do you see it at?
Right in the middle, 86.
I would say the same. It's like right there in a sense. It's good. It's definitely not the 90s, and it's definitely not the 70s. So in the 80s is a good spot for it, especially for like the quality of the film now. It is dated. It is very dated. Like we've seen other films that are from that time or even
before that time. Yeah.
And has better quality. This is very grainy, but maybe it was meant to be like that. Maybe like guerrilla style filming and stuff like that for the apocalyptic time.
True, but it's like it's a double-edged sword when you do that. It becomes very niche. When I was watching the film, I sent it like the trailer to one of my friends. I'm like, this is what I'm watching. And then they go, wow, that's like really old. And they even said like, I'm usually scared of horror films, but I don't know if I'll be scared of this just based on the quality. I'm like, right. No, you might be, but but yeah, no. So it does affect your viewing. Some people will take to that more than others.
Right. Is this worth the watch?
I think so. At least for like a discussion piece. Like if you're talking about like films and quality of films and stuff like that, I think this is actually a good discussion piece. For Outbreak film, I also think it's a really good one to look at.
Yeah.
Like because I can name several Outbreak films like Crazies, Outbreak. But yeah, this will be on my list.
How about worth the own?
I do own it.
Okay.
It's on my DVD list. It's somewhere tucked away.
All right, guys, that is our throwback review of 28 Days Later. Have you seen it? Let us know in the comments below. Are you going to see 28 years later? Let us know in the comments as well. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adon.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.